abomodin fight and intikura no be a office a special prosecutor. A man for say we share corruption wa I say protecting the public purse no o man panyin no CCA they were far public purse no kura de ahye na motuim ana eja wonam a o che sika no de ama ne ma na ene na busia for family and friends ebi mususu wa ya de pa eni de mu a mepacho your take on a corruption fight.
Dr. Ren, the dika mention what here for. Now men started on the note to say adeba kwa ID Africa nyapa aye katasishene krono bo. Because people who end up in politics, the majority now go with a certain saying vision because say kwako piska. Elsewhere, na nyesa anetie. And this all had the political arena on Africa. Corruption is a massive canker, IT deep into the fabrics of society. And a kahubi and ama Africa at a tiapan same way. And a bind bia or biano, ushema. There are some levels of corruption because nipa no mobano. I catch as a politics, you have people from diverse background, people with different interests, people with different orientation coming together to form a political party. They go ahead to form a government. Into a mobile, those differences in interest and variation in the kind of aspiration or model ends. But government in this, what you see was said no. I am dealing with people from different backgrounds, people with different orientation, people with different interests, and they're coming on board. So, nipa we no, those corrupt tendencies are always there. So, many as a method to menema, sebeya, even those with those tendencies, might not even dare say, yeah, babe, fat, idea, belonging to a minor. But I will fail in as a way establish that particular concept to her. Never a free ride for all. A culture say every nipa that's a nibia in his natural state, a greed, a corrupt, and that propensity or the tendency to do evil, always there. But one else I would say, and over the years, I can sit and tell you that we have failed in that particular regard because yentimi and setting up institutions or certain measures be a sabi. So be formless or before mind sika. Yahini panenim kase idea where you wa from emra entino emra ne no bedi the yatin in the past no ko ye prison ya nipa mugumi ya obeti ase obi koti kontomre obeti ase obi ko fa obi mobile phone obeti ase obi ko fa obi banche eno na that prison but the very people who are raping the purse of this particular country with millions of cedis in dollars none of them end up in jail because they are protected by the very system set up, say, Yadibu or Mino. And I think that some frustration now grow over the years. Now people were hoping, say, Prez.Akufo-Addo now all campaigning on anti-corrupt rhetoric. So, there he's a tough guy or bar. Corruption now over the years. Africa na Ghana, ya battle into me and found enko baby and still. Sanya mano egusu edi enyano ono ne oba ne government ebe make that particular thing a priority now we make sure say niema bia ebedu gu akwan mu a yebema ya end this canker bia no obeye. Let me say Akufo-Addo no be introduce corruption into our politics. No, it's something that has been there but yeah per solution, so he offered to provide us that solution. So oba or not there anti-corruption measures and whatever. And he promised us with this ANAS principle as one of the methods of employ name and shame persons on being engaged in corruption. And Oba and assured Ghana for say or the special prosecutor ever become was able to expedite this fight against corruption and as a form. There are people who accepted it say it's a good cause. But me I told you say that office of the special prosecutor now was a useless creation, feeding more into a populist politics. Oh yeah, baby, I'm a man for who say oh yeah, baby, because so buying person fighting corruption stemming from commitment and the political will on the part of the government. Fast forward, these institutions you're setting up, you're free say you're fighting corruption, and in the history of this country, if there has been any error marked by numerous corrupt cases and scandals. I'm not sure, say, in the political history of Ghana, no, okay, under every government to be out, ubenya as much as we can get under Akufo-Addo's government. Then you begin to ask yourself, but this is the man who promised setting up the office of the special prosecutor, promised heaven and earth, campaign on anti-corruption rhetoric, and as a force of a closure. But how come corruption is defeating her to the sense that his government has ended up to be the most corrupt set of government we've ever had in the under the Fourth Republic? So we have said, and clearly it gives you an indication that the government has failed. And I am not the only person saying this. You know that there are prominent people within the MPP who, for some reasons, because of Sunday Mabonia or party way with the party, and today they are coming to tell us, affirming some of the position ya Canada. When I know what Professor Addo.
Yeah.
All the two planes or no, Akufo-Addo abano a corruption train, and he's not willing to join. Oko muno, oko who corruption and kasa sabi onhu bida in the life. Yenya Martina midu okoko urem. Ono de babonte beke kansem bebre. Our catcher and say, since all year politics from Rolling Star and Bessie and Neno, he has never witnessed corruption at certain scale. Ohuye and Akufo-Addo. And Yahota Maklo is always out there sharing his own frustration. And there are several, what is a professor from Pomboatimba Bekambi, and there are several issues of corruption, and some are more can they are not just saying it. We've had series and instances. Now, no other what is a Brunibi, a Kase, or Basa, an investor, or Babe who President Akufo-Addo. As I'm so watching a catcher and suggest would gate fianza, and or Babe who President. And this position was echoed by the Deputy Finance Minister Anas Kochi na yeyi nadi. And you know, that phenomenon is a culture of corruption that has been institutionalized under this particular regime. And the government itself has become a beneficiary. And for that particular matter, no, the fight against corruption now, what no, a mere rhetorics in the name of politics and but the reality on the ground and say government is never committed to the fight against corruption. And in ne kisia jabena omu no say or you fit and he will help in the fight against corruption. And today he's out there crying heaven and earth to say even the court and say remain one of the institutions of state in the ombeye bia sebeya ebetimia frustrating no na wajam the fight against corruption. So and ye tone ye political arena and so corruption cases in a bat says be will be pipe was so na adibian chas no ta kosa obi afa ne hudi sisi la da pa issue ya and there are several of them. A public person there yes I will protect ayera da ya hwehwa ye hu e ji say wo be fa wa fidie so aton kra koma President Akufo-Addo say your public person ayera na ya hwehwe na say wo hu no or the bebra ya I think say nke be boy nyina
Jubilee House of TNT no.
Catch it almost a Ghana for sure public person no. Or Ayera, Dr. Ren. Because I also who public person and Kasa just look at the economy. Now we sound a public person now have Ghana and we are swimming in debt. Debts now in surmountable no try when ye who free me ye. And ye only foreigners out to the stand say ye were Japadia. We are not even in a position to argue for fair deal. And no, people will just determine how much they will give it to us. Because yes, I net here. How do you justify baby and then we are sitting in that's a Ghana your team discover lithium. So a canna to the sense and we are not in any position to bargain in anything. I bet me a favor because economy na da ho ne yatetia pansam no so we be inflation nenam wo hwe debt to your GDP wo hwe sika esa ye de service your debt na yato yanum to akwa abonte akoka kira manfo chale he eka ne ntimi ntu ya bie mo nti no ya default. It was a unilateral position that was taken by Ghana even before and inform our creditors and IMF sika yi we are begging, say, you bet me assign some memorandum of understanding be with our creditors and sana the second trench I go through. So public person, ayira yashusha you. And this Akufo-Addo catch us of fighting corruption. I think that is a joke, and I'm not sure say anybody on his right senses who the ekoso. So I fear not all be banana na or to assembly there and there obeti me a certain hope because I think that is what Ghanaians did. In some na all canon, the anti-corruption rhetorics na all preaching. Ghana for free said they've had enough, and say your papa be a sabi our experience when you and oba obeti me aboa ama sabi corruption you dey see baby ya nkebeboa but corruption no crowd there and yet corruption kekewo enkura system of masan dey aka ho crowd na masa be man dey tan corruption no enkura system esan ka ho because Dr. Ren in this civilized era how do you explain to people so under your government what point here ma if you obaba kra no what point creative art industry ko juma odi no ho omaya japade te say your friend say airport ya terminal 3 ya John Mahama ekwaji sika bebesi ye ya tam store dia man ba na otia no just a duty free time
ya odi amane ba no a ye alata eni no
yes so we, as a president there na wo pa winya do you have to go to the extent of just doing this abia nipa beka ho asem but I'm say corruption in class sometimes they don't even care because politics you see always you must whip the sentiment of the people sabi won't get it on their bad side and then because politics one way or the other emotions are involved as well so as a leader you calibrate along the people's emotions you get it or more on the other side but this is a government he is so belligerent not willing to listen to wisdom o kan sabi o na woni dwumadi na wo kasa enti corruption no koso no na ye dey a package of enkurase sama sande piso na ye na nenamu so obi catch us Akufo-Addo is fighting corruption. I think that is a joke. That is the biggest joke of the century and nobody will take that particular thing serious.
Ono so chese we heard the way of the office of the special prosecutor ya be dia nanka eja bomodi anse ebeboa because at the end of the day eno nsintin wo hwe so a wo dey fight corruption. Do you think that or the buy just say ye the institution abade na enso ekwan bi so no nyaade a ye bomodi aboa special prosecutor say ne ono e kasa say akade a say ye de boa nempo ye mfa mboa no nti akwai say edin mu de what in kama special prosecutor a be prosecuting kofo na enso ekwan a obefa so no de is something eja boachibidi.
Yes, unse my culture say Ghana no elsewhere people approach politics with some deep insight be or some understanding among for come the adwene nyansa and the kokuram but these people have gotten to a point almost realize the average Ghanaian is an emotional person. And we pursue such critical enterprises like politics, with the raw emotions. And when you are managing people's emotions, you do it with words. So on paper, he will tell you, must set up the office of the special prosecutor. He did into the international conversation. You can say, Omanya Abibrimha. Set up institutions are able to fight corruption. Office of the Special Prosecutor from Ghana will be one of the topical where people will talk about. But none of these people will come down to ask the output of that particular office. But yet Ghana, we know the output. The output is the scorecard Martin Amidu de Betuabontin said throughout his entire political life, that particular office in our G, has been the lowest point. Then Keban saying this is an officer set up and fight corruption. About the no troubles because he was willing to fight corruption, but the president and his family cabal wouldn't allow him. They were on him every day. So it comes to affirm the fact that the office was never created to actually fight corruption, but it was something that was crafted out of populist campaign, that populist politics, you're here to cheer the gallery, say, yeah, baby. But the reality is that the office, function ya adwuma bia. Office of the Special Prosecutor by how many years in here? What to say the akokokra court ama akokwa di for that. What that can be chirabe. Yamfa akokokra court. Akokokra court man ka say Special Prosecutor di blame na akokọ na di for. So ask yourself, say, in the last 5 or 7 years in here, the kind of resources I pumping the women as a problem. How come we are not getting any results? It is a McCarthy said that office was a useless creation on that particular score. No, it's justifiable. Because wherever public money goes, there must be some kind of output. But here is the point here: the office of the Special Prosecutor, starting from Matiamidu Tam, they thought this is NDC near Sabi, Nibuafu on any party, and too much anger. So Akufo-Addo thought he could exploit his anger and redirect that negative energy and Martin Amidu exhibited against his own party, against his own party. So when he came on board and they realized, said, no, this is a guy who has decided to do a fair job. And in going against the former government appointees, at the same time, he will go after government appointees. I said, baby. That was why they got a trouble with him. And then it started back and forth. A Japan deal, and they be breaking the camel's back. Kisi Jabin Abba, hoping, say, this is a guy or baby baby. I may catch a man for say, a Juma yes went to me and no the Peter ye or Martin went to me and fight.
What's it there?
Ajuma yes went to me and ye de funa beto ho yes you are bomb pie we are singing a funu so I'm sorry yes uncle for Peter then a Peter baye. You know sir, in fighting corruption strong personality account so well. And if you read around the world that people are said be prosecutors in the US and then as a form they come with some kind of strong personality. I know crab ama fight edimu because when you are approaching the person, say me ko bribe on and then as for now, obadwene hu bienu. But they go for kisia jabena when it comes to that kind of personality, then as for now oni. And this is a person perceived to be part of the establishment because there are key people within government that and they are the very people who advocated to bring him on board. So obviously, the enterprise, he wasn't going to succeed. And I said it the very time I heard they say the neighbor, and the videos are over. I think about for some years back, I told people say this guy coming on is just like as a canon for the Biaoba, he's expendable. Yeah, but you just to do the Omba, and some of us have been proven right. So you see, and your doom say sometimes obviously and some yetiwa you actually. That is why we're able to make such predictions, and it's really working. The reality is president and you're committed because corruption some econo do na effort no ankasa kra no ye fa ono ankasa no because yet here na a foreign media fence platform Al Jazeera asoma man form be some undercover be in Africa, and that undercover work ended up indicting the credibility of our president. President I said you do on my integrity and credibility are high. We saw some exchanges. The office of the presidency issue statement threatened Al Jazeera. Say, Charlie, I don't know the abandon no crap. Mon withdraw. And yes, I am 7 days. Wait me, I can 7 days a cover 7 months in here. Till date, we haven't heard anything because media house no trouble. I said they own the presidency, no apology because Omunim said your more can I no crap. We couldn't go forward. So if a president comes with this tattered integrity, now we at the end of the day, when Krana is through say Sabi, the president didn't anymore yam a muye drunti mekoya did Sabi because the president himself has been fingered in a lot of corruption scandals. And you know, and the family members, people surrounded him. His family people were actively involved in that scandal.
PDS.
Yes, PDS by core family members were involved. When Timian Kwankwaya excavator some by your friend saying Dr. Frimpong Watson, the professor Frimpong Watson issues here by a core you seen as a forum, and then what says a court I issue warning to special prosecutors say onim no koche sa abrantie na ade a what the so forever and ever the special prosecutor has been, your friend is saying, warned, say, only who coins or arrested those people. How can you live in a civilized democratic dispensation and have such instances at play? And you say, we are fighting corruption. This whole thing is a joke. And I think, you see, sometimes I just want people to move beyond partisan politics. Yeah, they say politics is good, partisan politics is good, but sometimes we need to live above it and ask yourself critical questions. Say, are they way across me nipa o sabi mako school me dwen me nimyansa? Is it the right thing? Now your country now, is it on the right pedestal? The kind of progress now you see these are legitimate questions we should be asking ourselves. But you see, like I said, the average Ghanaian person is an emotional person. They don't pursue politics with your friends say intellect or wisdom, but rather have decided to go with emotions, raw emotions. And this is what we get. Politicians will always and always take us for granted.
All right, Ivan. And every and you read that say you know you come. You sure see me adma watching so mrebe mo ebedinko. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
You nua na nachi uba ententan so dia dodo no a efre no Ivan Innocent Chei and ye ne twetwe nkomo efa corruption ho ensensem.
Why WT why oh why WT why oh why I want to see the motion because I see the sunshine. Why? If I'm coming fan, I'm a witness, y'all. What's it? Why you gonna be back? If I'm coming fan, I'm a witness, y'all. What's it?
Indeed, was Shebo Kugbe. I'm a Kamini. Nakai no. So we open ye. Aha.